Hi! Today I'm going to show you how to do one of the simplest things that you can do to ensure your vehicle's longevity, and that is your oil change. Before you get yourself started on any projects, you want to get yourself one of these repair manuals so you can be prepared of what's coming up ahead. Now we've safely ejected the vehicle off the ground. The next step we need to do is to open the hood. Now for the 2008 Mini Cooper base model, the oil filter is located in the engine compartment. Your vehicle's oil filter could be located directly under the engine. So check the owner's manual to ensure you know where the oil filter is. Now there are mainly two types of oil filters. Let's go over the two of them. The first one we have here, it is a canister oil filter. The operation of such filter, all you have to do is it's usually screw on to the mounting position of the vehicle, and which is usually under the car. And all you got to do is just screw this on, and it's gonna stay on there. There is a rubber seal here to prevent any leakage of oil. Now the second oil filter that we have, it is the cartridge oil filter. And the cartridge oil filters are different, and this is what we're going to be using today, the cartridge oil filter. It is a cartridge, and basically this is usually mounted on top of the, within the engine compartment, near the top of the engine. And there's a cap that you open, which I will show you later, and all you do is you insert this and remove the old one. And they usually come with a sealant, a gas kit. So you can close the cap and also reduce the chance of any leakage of oil. Now with everything in position, so now let's begin removing the oil filter. So I have a wrench and I'm ready to go ahead and place the wrench in and go ahead and take the oil filter off. Make sure it's nice and snug. Okay, so I have a drain pan placed in the car, and I'm ready to catch anything that drips. Use our hands to loosen it. Alright, now out come the oil filter. Alright, there's a little bit of a drip here, but I have taken the oil filter out, and that's what it looks like. And now I'm just going to gently place this on the catch pan that we have placed it under the car. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and just let the oil drain out of the cap itself as well. Now, the next step we need to do, we need to open up this cap here. So this cap is called the oil fill cap, right? The reason why we need to open that right now is to reduce the amount of vacuum there is in the system. So when we go down there and unplug the oil drain plug, the oil will pour a lot easier. Here we go. Twist and lift. Now let's go under the car and remove the oil drain plug. Alright folks, so what you're looking at right now is the oil pan, and we're now under the engine. Right, so we're under the car, under the engine. So this, what you're looking at right here, this thing right here, it's called the drain plug, right? So now we're gonna get a little hex key and just go ahead and loosen that up until oil comes up. So now we've placed the oil pan directly under the drain plug. Now we're gonna go ahead and take off the drain plug. There we go, best fit. So we're gonna go leftly loosey, rightly tighty. So we're gonna go left. There. Now you see oil coming up now. Here we go, do not lose the nut. Otherwise we'll have a hell of a time trying to find it. Here we go, hand loosen, ew. Okay, there. Let that drain for a bit as we get ourselves cleaned up. Okay, now we're ready to move on to the next step, which is the installation of the new filter. So, number one, this is the drain plug that we removed from the oil pan, and this little ring come off of it, right? So eventually you want to replace this ring, but since I don't have that replacement for now, I'm gonna use the same ring again. Okay, but again, eventually you want to replace this ring. Now the oil filter holster has this little rubber gasket in it. You want to remove the old gasket and install the new gasket. There's a zip tie to help us pull it out. Alright, insert zip tie, pull, and it comes right out. Now we're going to install a new one. So this is the new O-ring, or I like to call that the gasket. Install that here. Slide it all the way down to where it's supposed to be. Right there. There. Alrighty. That's that. The next step we're gonna go ahead and do is install the new oil filter. This is the new oil filter. From the looks of it, it looks like all you gotta do is just slide on. There. Now it's in. Okay, moving on to the next step. We're gonna install the plug again. So step one, we're gonna go ahead and plug up the plug. Now we're gonna ahead and install the plug again. Here we go. Plug in. Straight up. Not real tight, but you know what I mean. You don't want it so tight that next time you can't take it out. But you still want it to be tight. So oil in we go. Keep going. Alright, that's good enough. Good. So now we're back on top of the car. Before we refill the engine oil, we're gonna go ahead and close our systems. So first we're gonna go ahead and reinstall the oil filter. This is the new oil filter. It's nice and clean, and we'll also, really important, right? We'll also put some of the motor oil onto the gasket so that it kind of lubricates it, so it will prevent any wear and tear during the installation process. So now we're gonna put it back in and we're gonna close it up nice and tight. And go ahead. Alright, now next step, add oil. So this car uses approximately 4.5 quart of 5W30 motor oil. Now how we want to add the oil, you just want to open this up really nice and easy, and don't forget to count how many, keep track of how many quarts of oil have you added. So go ahead and number one, first quart. Second quart. The third quart. The fourth quart. And a half a quart. So now you want to be careful not to overfill it. Now we're going to close the engine cap. Now, let's start the car and check for oil leaks. Alright, engine looks pretty good. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do before we can close the hood is to check our dipstick for oil level to make sure we have sufficient amount of oil in the engine. Alright, it all looks good. So the only thing left to do is to drop the car back on the ground and take it out for a test drive. Thank you for watching. Hope you learned something today.